Well, hello my fellow car modelers. How are you doing today? Little update on the USACC build. We're down to a week and a half, but in this video we're going to do a little bit of paint correction because I had a little flub up, but this is an easy fix. So let's get on to this. Alright, real quick, as the update part will do here, is I got my roll cage build. I was going to do a full roll cage, but we're down to the wire. It's not exactly what would be correct, but that's good enough from when it's up in the car. That's pretty much all you really see. I'm going to paint that black, maybe do a little detailing to it. Chassis is done. I do have some ladder bars I'm going to add on here. We'll show those in the next video real quick. I've talked about what I wanted to do as far as detailing these slicks, and I played around with one of them. I got the tread kind of where I want a little bit. We're going to do this one. Maybe we could do that in another video. I don't know, but it's real easy to do this. I used 4 different colors, and I kind of did what is really common in armor building is this chipping effect, and also we use this in a lot of our distressed cars and cars with a patina look. It's basically you kind of take a spongy thing, rip it a little bit coarse on the end, and you dab it into the paint lightly, and you basically do this. And I started out with a few different colors to get this effect. I first laid down buff, and then I laid down desert yellow, then I threw in just a little flat white, finished it off with a little bit of tapping of some gray. I had some gray in there, and I was even thinking coming back, maybe hitting it with some flat black just to get a little bit more spacing in there, but that gives you where it just picks up all the grunge off of the ground as it rolled. It was more prevalent in older slicks. Today's slicks stay a little more self-cleaning, but the slicks back in the day of the time period that I'm doing this car, you see a lot of pictures of these things in the pit, especially when it's just dirt roads and they pit on grass and whatnot. And after a run, it picks up all this crud, and it's kind of gives a cool look to the tire. Tire isn't completely done. I'm going to white letter this, and then I'm going to shoot flat coat over it all. But I think I might hit this tread one more time with this little tapping chipping effect thing with the sponge, and I'm going to just go around with some flat black just to give a little bit more spacing in the appearance. And it is kind of rough looking, which is what you want. It's basically dirt and stuff picked up off of the dirt road. So we're going to get that going. I still haven't decided yet, but for my wheels, which I don't have the wheels here right now. I've showed you the wheels. They're just in raw resin form. The resin I tint my resin. It's white resin, and I always tint it with a little bit of black to give it a gray appearance. I like giving that base look on my parts. I'm going to use this. I used this years ago. I really like this. I did a video right here on this AK Interactive Chrome, and I think if I shoot this on, probably just going to go directly onto the resin. I've never had any issues doing that before without primering this, and I think without having the black under it, I think it'll give me the more aluminum look that I'm looking for. So we'll see. You'll see that coming up. I didn't have any yellow. I thought I was going to have to go to the store and buy some yellow, and I'm digging through my stash, and I happen to have, and I don't have the bottle here, or the can I should say, I had a can fresh, had to unwrap it, of chrome yellow from Tamiya in the rattle can, and the cap looked horrible, and I didn't know if I was going to like it, but it ended up giving me that vision that I had of the yellow I wanted on this car, and I'm very pleased with it. It went smooth, but this isn't the final coat. Reason why I stopped here, because it's still a little thin. I got to hit more here, but I got a few sags, and this is the paint correction we're going to do. You can see the sags. I let it sit overnight. We're going to have to sand that down, and this is what I love about using Tamiya and using lacquers in general. The Tamiya spray rattle cans are a lacquer paint, and yes, I'm going to show you that in a second. it's a lacquer paint, so lacquers are very forgiving. When you get a sag or a mess up, it's really easy to polish it out, wet sand it, smooth it out, and move on. Where enamels, you can't really do that. You get a sag and an enamel, you're not going to be able to touch it for months, because enamel will harden on the outside. Underneath, it stays very soft, possibly gummy. You start sanding it, and then you'll start seeing little little tiny balls balling up of paint onto your sanding paper, and it just fills it up, and it doesn't do anything. It just makes a mess, and that's one of the other 163 reasons why I don't like enamel paints. After a while, when the enamel's totally hardened, you can then go ahead and buff them out. Problem is they're so freaking hard. They're very difficult to buff out. So we're going to do a little sanding on this. I'm going to start with, this is a 1500. I'm going to get it into my water and let it soak. And then I also, if I really want to go all the way, I've got my micro mesh sanding cloths here, polishing cloths, starting at 32, 36, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 and 12,000. Now, I don't think I'm going to go that far with this, because it's not the finished coat. I'm not going to polish it. I just want to get rid of these sags here so that I can put another coat on here and move along. Now, my hood I had painted the night before. I painted this and got the color down, and I really wanted to try the old decals. And again, the decals here, I told you I wanted to use this older one, which the paper was kind of yellowed, but I liked how the oranges were very separate, where the orange in this, it's a little darker, and I just didn't like the oranges, and you can't really see a good separation of the orange between the two oranges. This you could. So I was hoping it worked out. And what I did first is I'll show you this, just to test the decal out. I cut this little, Rampage Camaro, blah, blah, and I threw it in the water to see if the decals would not start to splinter, and it did great. So I went ahead and cut out the hood. I wanted to see how this would look good once it's laid down on the color. And I used, because I'm out of my micro mark, I use a little bit of micro mark. I do like using Mark Fit Strong from Tamiya, but it's getting very low. I busted out my old micro saw. I used the saw, which softens it all up and adheres to the contours, because we got a heck of a contour right there, and I wanted to catch all this. So I want that to look like it's painted, not a decal. And took my time. And look how I wrapped it around the back there. Takes a lot of time. I've done some videos, and I got more videos coming on how I do decals. I love laying decals, but it takes a lot of time to get a nice smoothed out decal. And you just worked it. I worked it and kept on putting that stuff on. Softens up the decal. I got all the air bubbles out. It laid down beautiful. And then I'll be able to clear over that, and that'll look like it's painted on instead of a decal. That's what we go for. But the one thing that I love is my choice of which decal sheet to use. I'm extremely happy. I love the colors. That has such a 70s, early 80s look to me. And I'm thrilled about it. So that's going to be on there, and the stripe will be down the side. And as you see, like we were talking about, going with I got some body work I got to do on there. The hood scoop here, right now, to get this done, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going that way or to even cut a hole in this hood. I didn't want to, so I am going to paint this black, and I will rig it up and kind of just mount it for the look, because at this point this is going to be a curbside. I'm not doing the engine because I just don't have a time, but I'm probably going to come back. But when it's done, I'm going to kind of leave it to my decision of whether I want a hood scoop or not. I'm kind of liking that. I really do like it, just keeping the essence of the flat hood on there, looking like an old super stock car or a stock eliminator car, from the 70s. And I might just leave it at that. So I'm undecided, because even after the build, I might later on want to come and put an engine in this and do a little farther work on this. I don't know. Sometimes I do. I like to go back to some of my old builds and elaborate on them. But for now, we're going for that outwards way it sits look, and I'm really pleased with how we're going with that. So let's go ahead and start the paint correction. And my 1500 has been soaking for a while. Let's see if hopefully it's enough to get this knocked down. I might have to go with a heavier grit, but this is what I love about working with lacquers. It's so forgiving, but you just want to wet sand and smooth it out. You don't want to be too aggressive with it. We're taking, again, this is not the final coat, so if I go all the way down the primer, I'm really not concerned with it. But we're knocking that down. And I got a sanding pad here that's 1000 grit. That's been kind of used, so it's probably a little lighter. I'm gonna hit it with this 3M what they call superfine, which is technically it's 1000. It's 800 dry, 1000 wet. So with it wet and plus it's used, it's probably even less there. You know, a higher grit than, which is a lighter grit than 1500, than 1000, but a little heavier than the 1500. So sorry, my communication skills absolutely suck. I've only been doing YouTube for 9 years. I don't know what I'm doing. But we are getting this down. Again, the tough part without it going too far through the paint, as I can see some of the white base coat showing there. I really want to get this sanded down. A lot of it has smoothed out. I got a lot of the sag gone, but quite honestly, I just don't want to take out that ridge right there. So I'm going to try to just go in a downward motion. But we have got a lot of it gone by now. As long as if I get down to the white, I don't want to go too much farther. I just don't want to go past that white. Then that becomes, I've got to get the base coat white back down. Because, as I said, this was painted, I said this on the Facebook groups. I haven't said this. This was primered and sanded with Duplicolor filler primer. It's my go-to primer. It's what I use. I love it. It's a lacquer-based primer. Your Tamiya primers are also lacquer-based. It's almost the same stuff, but I just like going to the automotive store and getting the Duplicolor. It's been what I've been using for 35 years. And then I shot this with Tamiya TS 101 base white. They came out with this a few years ago, and what's beautiful about it, and you can see, especially yellows, you shoot the yellow down, the pigment wants to recede from all of your lines here, of your door lines and trunk line here and all that, and your edges, and it wants to pull away from there. Putting down the white base keeps that from happening. Not regular white, because even their regular white, their pure white, has a tendency to do that. But if you take that TS 101, and we're doing all rattle cans here, TS 101 from Tamiya, and you base coat any color, I do it with any color, you will definitely see a reduction of that pull off from all your edges, and it's a great tool. So that's what I did, and then I put just one coat of the yellow down, and that's where we're going with this. So we're getting into a long video here, but you're going to get to see how this is done. We've pretty much gotten rid of the sag. I'm going to go to your 1500 here, kind of get that. So I've gotten rid of that. I think when we get a new coat down, it's gonna vanish. I still got this one to do, but no need to do that on the camera. As long as you saw this, you can see, because it's a little thicker, it's a little darker there, but the ridge is gone. Everything's gone. Now I'm gonna go to 3200. I'm probably only gonna use the 3200 with this, because again, this isn't the final bit. If I was completely buffing out this color, which this paint buffs out beautiful, I tell you, man. Being synthetic lacquers, this Tamiya rattle can buffs out so nice. If you're not even going to put a clear down, you want just a base color, it does beautiful. And then I would go through all of these all the way down to the 12,000. But I think we're just going to take it to the 3200 because we pretty much got that all gone. And that is your paint correction. We got a little bit more to go. I might do a little more sanding. Still got a ridge over here. We got down to the white base there. We should be okay. As long as we don't cut into that white base, we're going to be doing well. Not to mention I'm going to have a decal going by this area. So if you have that bump there, it's going to show through your decal. Then when you do your clearing, it's going to show through your clear. And you got to take care of any imperfections in your paint right down at the beginning to make sure that it's all gone, and because it just amplifies. When you have an imperfection, every layer of paint, every layer of decal, clear, it's basically a magnifying glass, and it's going to make it worse and worse and worse and amplify it as it comes to the surface of your finish. So you've got to, at the beginning, get rid of stuff like that, and you're golden. And that is the beauty of lacquer, getting rid of that. If I have a sag in the final coat and I have enough coats of paint on there, you can go through and get rid of your sag and then go through all of your numbers here, all of these, and you can smooth it all out without breaking all the way down to the bottom, and you should be all good, because a sag is a built-up of the paint, so you have a lot more there than the rest of it. That's why it's a little darker. And that's the thing about this pigment is another thing about putting down the white, and a lot of people like to put down also the pink primer, actually really enhances and affects some of these colors. It's not a transparent, but what's underneath still affects what this paint will look like, either darker, or if I want to darken this up, I'll lay this down on either gray primer or I will lay it down on red oxide primer, and you'll get a darker color if that's what you're searching for. So a lot of these paints, you can really adjust what you're wanting just by what your base coat is. So there you go. This is corrected. We're going to finish this all up, get another coat of the yellow down, and hopefully if I do that today, by tomorrow I can be laying my decals down and the next day clearing. I haven't decided what clear. I'm thinking about finally trying out. I've had this for a couple of years, this UV cut super clear, and I believe this is an acrylic enamel. You heard me talk about I don't like enamels, but I am okay with acrylic enamel clears. It's a completely different animal. These dry very quickly and they harden up, and they act like lacquers, and you can buff them out, and they're an absolute beautiful clear. I love them a lot. As far as like using Tamiya is the Tamiya clear coat. That is a lacquer. It's a lot harder, and with me wanting to cover decals, if I decide to go that way, you gotta be really careful. You can really blow your decals away with the Tamiya clear because it's so hot. So there it is. We'll be moving on, and that's my little catch up on this. So there it is. We're getting there. It's yellow. We got a little bit of sag there. We got to sand out. I got a little heavy-handed with it yesterday. I got excited, so that's the worst sag right there. We're going to get rid of, but you can see that sag's all gone. Once I shoot the final coat on there, you're not even going to see that, and we are going well. And yeah, tell me what you think of that look. You old-time drag racers will understand that. We'll probably squeeze in another update video before the final video, showing you some of the stuff. Maybe I'll go ahead and maybe if you want me to record me doing this treatment here on this tire, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do that. And we are going to get rocking here. We're just about done. There's a couple of my wheels there. All right, thank you all for watching. And why do we paint and sand and fix and correct and lay decals down and stare at it and go, ooh, that's nice on these model cars of ours? 'Cause it's fun, right? Here's the producers.